I'm Jacob Avery. Gail is out of town this week, so I'm going to be kicking things off and introducing Julien for his talk, which is jam-packed, and so I'm going to be very brief so that we have plenty of time to hear him and to hopefully participate if you brought your laptops. Julien Mailland is Associate Professor of Telecommunications in the Media School at Indiana University, Bloomington. He is the co-author of this book here, Minitel, Welcome to the Internet, with Kevin Driscoll, which was published by MIT Press in 2017. It explores the technology, culture, and policies that sustained the world's first mass-scale online system, Minitel, as I'm sure many of you know, which is part of why you came to this talk today. He's also the co-founder of the Minitel Research Lab, whose mission is to create a comprehensive independent digital Minitel museum and resource center, and make creative use of these machines to incite people thinking about network design. And we'll also experience a bit of that in the second half of his talk. So today, Julien will give a brief presentation on Minitel and the book project, or at least material coming out of the book project, I imagine, before moving on to a participatory session where we will each connect to the Minitel network and experience for ourselves both part of the history and contemporary re-articulation of this important network technology. So please join me in welcoming
There's a bunch of Minitel stickers, by the way, on the table, so feel free to help yourself to these. And then while on campus, I'm really psyched to be here. Thanks for the invite. I actually walked into this building for the first time 22 years and 2 months ago as a student. So I guess all these sleepless nights looking at Moffat really paid off. Finally. Okay, so as mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the Minitel platform is. I know most of you have heard of it, but you're not be up to speed with the details. And then I'll talk a little bit about what we're working on with Kevin now, which is kind of the fringe uses and alternative uses of a network that was state designed. You'll see that the state killed the network, but it's still alive somehow. And we'll go to 2 chat rooms, real Minitel chat rooms. One of them is called Hacker. We have a number of hackers in Paris waiting for us in chat rooms. So if you got your laptop, we can do that. And then we're very lucky to have Daniel Hanneby here with us, who is a Minitel pioneer, who also runs a very famous chat room called SM, which stands for medical server. And he brought his Minitel, which is connected via the Wi-Fi to a web server somewhere, so we'll try to go to his chat room. As well, it might be a little chaotic because the code is 40-year-old, and we're using modern machines, but I think it's going to be fun. Okay, so for those of you who don't really know what Minitel is, it was a massive state-run project to digitize France that started in the 70s. And what the government did through the phone company is to give every French person a free computer. That's the free computer, that's the distribution line over there. The state actually bought those machines, hundreds of thousands of them, from a number of companies in France, including Alcatel, and we give you a free computer. So this is the machine. It's very simple, completely plug and play. You take it home, you plug it on the electrical socket and on the phone socket, and you're on the network. There's no need to sign up like AOL, building a credit card number. You're billed by the minute by the phone company. So very low barriers to entry. And you might wonder, well, what did people do with Minitel? So remember, this is started in 1981, right? Barely anyone in the US is online. Academics are, but not the normal, not your normal retail person. In France, everybody's online in the early 80s. So what did people do with it? Well, before there were things like Webvan, which you might remember if you worked in .com, there was a telemarket. You could order your foods on Minitel. You could buy a concert ticket on Minitel before Ticketmaster ever existed. I put a picture of Bart up for you because Dire Straits was the first concert that I bought tickets on Minitel. Online banking was a huge thing. So in the US, very few people could trade online at that time. In France, most people were doing online banking. You could play games, so Scrabble on Minitel. You could play interactive games, very slow because you're talking at 1,200 bullets down the street. When I came here as a student, I had to use a thing called telebears to register for class, which was a phone system, which was terrible, gave people nightmare. We had a computer assistant to register for school, and of course there were the chat rooms. And the chat rooms were called minitelistes, which means pink Minitel. That was the bulk of traffic on Minitel. That was basically sexy chat. And so the streets of France were covered with ads like this for various services. This one is called Ula, very famous one. We'll try to go into that chat room and see what it looks like. But there were, I mean, every big boy in Paris and in the streets of France were basically sex chat room things. You would certainly not see that here. Some of them were like fun. There was something for everybody. This one is called Canal Dudes, and it's in between us dudes. And there's little bananas. You get the idea. Some of the ads were very minimalist. So this one is the ad for Daniel's site. SM. We want to skip this because we want to go there. If you're interested in this story, we did a very long history with the Computer History Museum. That's on the YouTube channel there. Even major newspapers were running their sex chat rooms. This is an ad for Le Monde, which is kind of the New York Times of France. And what they're saying is, we're mostly about IQ, right? And they're explaining how the chat rooms are about IQ. But Q in French means butt. And it sounds like butt, and of course they have a little butt there on their IQ chat room. Why is this important? As Jacob mentioned, this was the first time that you had in the world a country that was completely connected, and that was 15 years before the web arrived in the US. So it's kind of important because it helps us debunk the standard Silicon Valley narrative that the internet was invented at UCLA, and boom, we got the internet, and no other countries were ever involved. In reality, the story is much more complex. This is kind of a thing that Weber tried to do, kind of map out various systems, and this is one from Astrid Dyson's release 1.0. You see Minitel kind of in the middle, and of course you see the American chat rooms, country server, and things like that. Okay. Minitel is interesting because of policy. It helps us think through policy issues. I'm going to skip this really quickly because that's not the talk today. But the idea is that that was a platform that was run in part by the government. Because of that, the government was legally required to follow things like due process and ensure that people had free speech. So in a world where net neutrality is being attacked and where ISPs like Comcast want to control what you can do with your connection, at the time, because it was run by the post office, you had a system that was relatively neutral. The government was accountable, so they cut you, you could sue them, and of course there was privacy. So in the US, we see Minitel is often derided as a closed, centralized, state-censored, backward ecosystem. That's kind of the narrative in Silicon Valley. The reality is much more complex because, so that's the drawing of the network. The core of the network is public and is run by a phone company. So that is one aspect of centralization. However, the terminals and the servers are privately run. So any company could actually make a Minitel terminal. You could in fact use PCs and emulators. But most importantly, all of the content, except for the phone book, was run by private entrepreneurs like Daniel, who connected to the server and were pretty much free to do whatever they wanted with it. So it was a public platform that supported private innovation. One way it did it is by providing a business model to entrepreneurs named a kiosk. A kiosk is where content providers, aka newspapers, come to meet with customers, and the Minitel kiosks worked about the same. You had the state in the middle, the content provider connected to the data network, push their content through to the user. The user paid the phone company through their phone bill and rebated 2/3 of that money to the content provider. This, by the way, is exactly the App Store model. Right? So Steve Jobs notoriously ripped up a bunch of stuff from Minitel, including the handle here for the Macintosh. It was also a public platform in the public interest. So again, the access provider, which is the phone company, was required to follow the process, which is something that you don't see anymore today. When Apple decides to kick the WikiLeaks app from its app store, there's nothing WikiLeaks can do. Okay, so that's a very major difference. Now skip that privacy part. We can talk about it later. So here's where it gets interesting, which is that so the state builds this platform to digitize France and support private innovation, but of course people kind of decide to take matters in their own hand and do something else with it. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. It did become a platform for activism. There were major demonstrations in France in 1986, and notoriously the students organized in the chat rooms. Okay? So an outlet for activism. There were any sort of kind of fringe things that you might want to talk about was represented. For example, there was a site for conscientious objectors to get out of the military service. It's also the time of the epidemic. The 80s was like the big time. And so Minitel was useful for this. This is an ad for the official Minister of Health site, but notoriously the gay community did organize over those chat rooms as well, and they were using it not just to sexy chat, but also exchange important medical information and resources and things like that. One of the features that I think is usually overlooked in the US, but that enables what we're going to do today, which is actually connected on the Intel website, was that it worked on open standards. All of the standards were very public, and they were distributed for free. These are catalogs that were distributed for free to anyone who wanted them, and mainly entrepreneurs, telling them how the platform works so that they could actually code and have systems. So very useful. So the data, the core of the network is public, and the standards are also very much public. And so that enabled a boom in services. There were 25,000 services at the peak, which was in 97, 98. And also peripherals, because anyone could build hardware for the network. So for example, here you see a restaurant, any little point of sale credit card reader. You didn't see this in the US in the 80s. We had mechanical things. When I hear that the smart house is a new thing, I always laugh. Because here's your Minitel and home automation. You can connect your fridge or whatever you want on your Minitel. And it also enabled a lot of small entrepreneurs who might not have money to buy a mainframe to actually create their servers. So you saw a lot of what's called microservers. These are screenshots, which are kind of the equivalent of BBSs in the US. You could run them on any computer you wanted, whether a 3B2 as yours for the pro grade, or a teeny little Auric Telestrap, whatever the Auric Telestrap was. So there was a vibrant kind of culture there. And to go back to that ULA site, again, very important culturally. This is from the Roman Polanski movie. You can see the thing there.
That's the only phrase I remember from French class.
And ULA, which we can go on later, runs on this machine in Paris, which is run by Christian Quest, which will be in a room a bit later. So what the openness of that system did is that it also enabled a Minitel revival. So in 2012, the phone company, France Telecom, shuts down the data network. It's gone. Okay? You still have the terminals, you still have the servers, but there's no network in the middle. But it doesn't matter because these are open standards, and so you can tweak them and make things work again. So lots of art projects. So since 2012, there's really been a vibrant kind of scene of artists and hackers doing fun things. So on the art part, Kevin and I did some like ASCII art. These are, I'm on the left, he's on the right. So we took pictures and converted them. That's a little connector that we did. At first it didn't really work, so you have to kind of tweak things so we get a bunch of gibberish on the screen. And eventually it worked quite well with an Arduino. Kevin made a 3-minute video that I want to show you so you understand how this works. He's much more technical than I am. And then we'll, okay, here we go. Get the Mac to work. Okay.
Hello everyone, this is Kevin Driscoll from the University of Virginia in the Minitel Research Lab. And Julien invited me to say a couple words about the work we did exploring the hardware and software of the Minitel. What you can see here on the table is a Minitel 1B. And this is an example of the kind of terminal that you get for free if you went to the post office and you told them you're interested in Minitel, you might get a terminal like this. They're widely available secondhand. The Minitel 1B is a very straightforward kind of telecommunication device. It has 3 key components: the screen, the keyboard, and the modem. Now the 1B and later terminals added some additional features. So the 1B also has a serial port. And in this demo, we're going to connect the serial port to the serial out pins on the Arduino 1. And a little program on the Arduino will just send some bytes through that serial channel that the Minitel will interpret and try to display on the screen as meaningful characters. Now you can see a test pattern showing all of the hues and the characters that can be displayed in a Minitel service. So it's with this palette that the designers of Minitel services built all of their menus, the interactive games, the chat channels, things like that, are all built from this relatively simple set of visual tools. Now, the Minitel 1B can also...
More sound?
That you could send a special control sequence down the channel that would flip the Minitel temporarily into an 80-column, 7-bit ASCII mode to make it compatible with time-sharing computers, PC networks, bulletin board systems, public Unix systems, and other worlds of data communications outside of the Minitel platform. So the Minitel, between its video text mode and its ASCII mode, really tried to kind of make a fulcrum between all of these different emerging forms of data communications at the time. One more thing to say about the Minitel is that this relatively simple set of standards remained in operation for over 30 years. So even people building Minitel services in the early 1990s still stuck with the basic set of standards published by France Telecom in the early 80s. However, they were free to use whatever hardware they wanted. So that's why we're able to build a very simple Minitel demo using an Arduino 1. Likewise, as computer hardware changed and software development changed, the people who made the Minitel services could continually update behind the scenes while their users could use the terminals that they had picked up for free in the early 80s. Thanks very much for sticking with us through this video. If you're interested in checking out some of these materials, see our website, minitel.us, or email one of us, and there's more details on how this demo works from a technology point of view in the IEEE Spectrum, and you can ask Julien or I for the citation. Thanks very much. Back to you, Julien.
All right. Okay, all right, so that was the message from Kevin. I have the links. If you're interested in this stuff, I can send you links to resources that have all the code and stuff like that, so you can do it yourself. So very briefly, so there's been kind of a revival of projects going on around France and even the US. This is an example. This one is called Minitel boobs, and it does nothing except show this. There have been other kind of pictures, stuff. There's been music made with it. We don't really have time for that, but Daniel, Kevin, and I did an exhibition at the Ace Hotel in New York last year, where you could go online with these machines. Kevin and I did a fun little Twitter client where this Minitel is connected to Twitter, and I use it in class. I tell my students I give them extra credit if they tweet to hashtag Minitel, and the tweets actually scroll on the screen. So these two just turned 3 points each. There's even a school in France, engineering school called Epitech Toulouse, that uses these Minitels to teach their student something. So how does it work? Well, so we have our old official public data network that connects the terminal to the server, but you could actually bypass them. Even back then, you could call a server from an analog phone network. And here I found this interesting tidbit in the Communist Party archive, which they opened for me. What you see here is a brochure for the Minitel site, and there's two numbers. 3614 is the shortcode to go on the official data network, and this is just a phone number to go on the analog phone number. So what happens is when the state actually shuts this, you can still go on the phone network. You can also use PCs, and that's what we're going to do today. That's why you've got your laptops. So here are the two sites we're going to. The first one is called Hacker. I will give you the address in a second. And the other one is SM. I think Daniel and I will probably circulate and help you guys try to figure out how it works. The interfaces are a little different from what you're used to. So it's going to be fun. So again, the bottom line here is that Minitel was designed to really encourage exploration and support experimentation. And this gentleman was the moderator for your site, I believe. So let's go explore. So here are the two links you can go to. Is this up and running? It is. So some of you guys can go on SM on this computer. So these are the two links. I am going to go and kind of give you a very basic tutorial. Does everyone have the address? So I'm going to log out and go in the browser. In the corner here. Okay, so here's what Hacker looks like. And supposedly the Hacker people are there waiting for us to chat with us. So when you load the page, you should see something that looks like this. Yeah. You have a blank screen, okay. Okay, so some of you, it works on some operating systems. Remember, the code is 40 years old. If you can't get to Hacker, get to SM, and it should work. It will load, no? I'm not sure. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. Are other people able to go on Hacker? You on SM, you on Hacker? Okay. So let's try Hacker first. Here it asks you to click, and you're all going to learn French, that's great. So you want to click on this button called Suite, which means next. Okay. And when you do that, and it comes complete with the sound of the Minitel keys, which are very loud. So here, what it tells you is you got to. It's going to ask you. Okay, skip the page. Why is it skip the page? Okay. It will ask you to type your pseudonym and your password. Do you see those 2 lines? Okay, so create your screen name and your password, and then you're going to hit the return key. You can use either use your mouse to click on these, or you can actually use your keyboard. And then once you've done that, you will click on Suite again. Yeah, use the tab key to go from one to the other. So yeah, type your pseudonym and then tab. And then type one. Oh, it erases. Great. Did you figure it out?
Just now got to this stage.
Okay, well that's good. You're where you should be. Is this not working on here? Okay. Try the SM side though. What's that? Nothing came up with the SM at all? What do you have here? No? Okay. Alright, so. Alors, tout est ok, on voit. Alright, okay. So some of you will miraculously arrive to a summary page with numbers. Let's see, we got one here. Okay, so you want to create a pseudonym, whatever your screen name. And then the tab. Yeah. Okay, that's not so maybe use the mouse to navigate from one to the other. The code is 40 years old, so it's very finicky.
No, it's there.
Okay, so this is the password now. Let's see here.
Yeah, when first
Okay. Oh yeah, you have to. Oh, sorry, you have to use all tabs by the way. I forgot to mention that. Who knew?
What is return character?
It's envelope. Yeah. And it seems to be working on cell phones as well, for those of you guys who know
Some
that.
people,
No?
yeah. People who aren't Cal visitor don't seem to
Oh, really?
The visitor is network.
I'm on Cal Visitor right now. Really? Let's see. So I'm Cal 1. And it's not working. So it seems to be working on some machines, but not on others for some reason. Okay, so I know one person reached here. Okay, if you manage to get to that page, and we can all chat with them together, we'll just decide what we're gonna do. If you manage to get to that page, you're gonna want to go to number 2, which is the chat room. So if you're there, you type 2 and envoie. I'm gonna try. Okay. So this is what happens. That's fine. You'll tell me what to tell them. Let's see. So we're gonna try Computel. Let's see if we can get into somewhere here. Okay. Well, okay. So there are 4 people up there. Oh, we got some Cal people. Is CalFac here? Yeah, there we go. All right. I don't know. I'm Cal 1. I don't know. Oh, and CQ is Christian Quest, who did the Bureaucrats. Okay, so here, if you have to type envoie again. Okay, so now, what do we want to say? Hello, this is Berkeley. All right. Anyone here? Question mark. Oh! Boy, he types quite fast. Okay. Let's see. Do you guys want to? So you apparently have to click on envoie every time before. Are you figuring out there?
I'll try that.
Okay. Who else is there? Question mark. So that's what the chat room looked like at the time. About the same speed, 1200 baud. Oh, Christian. Hi, Christian. Okay. Oh, is it? Oh! Well, so go into a different salon. Yeah. KC. Who is KC? Nice! You managed to do it. Alright, a bit cold and rainy. Look at this conversation. There. Okay. So we have to. Let's see. I want to see the creator of the site is there. Alright, who's going to answer? Alright, so this is how this works, basically. Did anyone manage to get on SM as well? What's that? Okay, so here you want to create a username in all caps, and then a password in all caps, and then the green button is the return key. Sorry. First you want to type something here. What task is the I don't know how you get phone to yeah, it's a little okay, so there's a general if you've been logged out, there's also, if you go back on some mail, there's a general chat room. Thank you. If hacker's not logging into it, did you try email sound? So that's the Minitel experience. That's impressive. The code is 40 years old. It's now made to work with a web browser. Essentially.
Julian, are you on the web?
Yeah.
Where is it, Julian?
It's at Minitel Research.
Yeah, exactly right.
If you use hashtag Minitel, just
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. Does someone want to try the machine here? We can also do that. It works on certain others. So Jen is back, so you have to go back. Try some man. Right here. Okay. Again. It might have to go the entire page at 12. And I think this is the fast version. Okay. So Jen is yeah, so type 3 and try to go there. That's just I'll go back.
So there's so many is like given so there's not
Yeah. Do you want to launch that?
Sure. Yeah. So people have other questions. I mean, we can troubleshoot as well, but also if there are questions about Julian's presentation or Médium generally that people want to ask, by all means.
Okay, so if you go back twice on something, then you can go back to the main page, and the general will be number 3. General is just a big chat room. Instead of being a salon that's limited to 5 people, you can actually go. There we go. So again, you have to click envoy to right click the green button to access something. Okay, this is how it works. Okay. Okay. Let's see if anyone else is there. You are? Yeah. And are there some people on SM that can chat with this machine? There's no username on this website, so where are you in the 4? I can switch to the. What is it, Daniel? It's
Sorry.
What is the URL?
SM.
Okay. So SM is a little easier if you're having issues with username and password, because you don't need a username and password. So it'll just load straight up like this, and you want to
Yeah, you can use the 4 if you want.
You can use 4 if you want to chat.
C is the main chat room.
Oh, okay. So 1, oh, C or 1? One, okay. Okay, so these are fake names of users,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay. So how do we go from there?
So when you want to talk to someone, you just enter the number.
Okay.
You can see and hit envoy.
Okay, how do I know if they're there?
You're there.
Is it you? Am I talking to you?
Now you have a message from
Oh, so this is the...
Yeah, so no Brad Pitt.
I'm Brad Pitt, yeah. Very good.
Everything is possible in minutes.
I know, right? You can invent your personality. Ooh, I have a message. Let's click for vlog. Oh, that's not really nice. Okay, how do I go back to the main? Oh, here. So
And so you have multiple ways to chat with someone. You have this main chat room, and you have small chat rooms also if you want to save it. And you have these.
okay.
And you have 3 different chat rooms.
5 levels of sexy.
Right? Here you have
ultra sex.
Yeah. You have
And nobody's in ultra sex. Alright. I'll go talk to Walter. So then I have to type an L to Alright. So that's me. What's up? What's up? Oh, here's Karl Marx. Oh, here's Penny Guggenheim. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, how is the weather in Berkeley? Alright, so that's how it works. Very good.
You have one more way you could use what was called this law. So this is a way to have a personal chat with someone.
I see.
Yeah. But you need to go from the main chat room.
I see. Okay. So that's kind of how it works.
So where's the server that we're connecting to?
So this one is on Amazon.
Okay.
It was recompiled completely and it was on Amazon. So this is connected through WebSockets and goes to the server.
So the Minitel is actually on Wi-Fi, which is the interesting part here, because it wasn't exactly in existence at the time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Again, if you know all the specifications, you can do tricks like this. And the other server that we connected to is in Paris on some old compact PC from the 80s that Julien Mailland dug from his basement and refurbished somehow. And I showed you the picture of the road from Berkeley as well. So, yeah. Did you have questions?
Yeah, that was my first question. So Minitel was wonderful and free and open, and it was for the public good. Why did the government shut down the program?
Because it was well, first of all, it was very expensive. The terminal was free, but you pay by the minute on your phone bill. How much did you charge?
It was about 1 franc per minute, so 1 franc is
20 cents? 20 cents
quarter.
Okay. So when you're in heated, sassy chat, it might cost quite a bit of money. So that's one reason. That's a great question because a lot of people in Silicon Valley will say, well, look, the fact that it's shut down shows that it was backwards. But the thing is, it really was the end of a cycle. Just because we don't use horse carriage anymore doesn't mean that horse carriage weren't good at the time, right? So the web was free as opposed to Minitel, so people switched very quickly to the web. You could use, and the technology was kind of stuck in time too, right? So these machines were designed to be very simple so that they wouldn't break, but that didn't evolve in time, right? So all of a sudden you have JPEG, you have videos. You can't do video with a 1200 baud modem, right? And you can't do video with screen. And this is a dumb terminal, so there's no intelligence in it at all. By the mid-90s, everybody in France started buying PCs. So once you have a PC, you don't really need a terminal anymore, right? So what I think made it a success is also what kind of killed it, which is that for most people it's dependent on the terminal, and it relies on technology that's very simple, but that's limited because this is what you can do with it, and that's about it. So I think it was time for transition, and you can see it peaks in 97, 98, which is when internet access picks up in France.
Was since these are, presumably these are using kind of ISD, eventually ISDN equivalents, was there any integration with the phone system, either existing or letting app providers integrate with phone to get to their customers more fluidly, or even for voice chats?
You mean when the phone lines went to ISDN?
Yeah.
Well, I think people kept using their Minitel on that, and then once people got, high-speed lines in France, they switched to internet access providers on these lines.
Okay, so the original hardware arrangement monopolized the line, so voice could not.
That is correct. Yes.
So you couldn't integrate.
No, you could. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could. You had to either make a phone call or get an Intel, but not one or the other.
What was the motivating, idea behind this? Why did the government decide that this was going to be a good thing to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a long story to it, but long story short, the French phone network in the 70s was in shambles. I mean, it was a disaster. It took 3 years to get a line installed. At the time, it took 3 days for AT&T to install one, right? So they had to revamp the entire phone network. They decided to digitize it, but that cost a lot of money. So in order to generate revenue, if you give people something to do with that new phone line and they're going to spend money on it, that's going to pay for the network. So that was one of the reasons. And the other one is that IBM was very active in networking and databases and things. And from an international relations standpoint, France, I think, was very afraid that the US was going to come in, roll in with their computers, roll in with their databases, and we're going to destroy French culture. So you had to have, and you see this today nowadays with what the French call omni-Googleization, which is this idea that Google's taking over the word, and in English, obviously. So the impetus was also to help jumpstart one hardware manufacturer, right? So they ordered millions of terminals to get those lines set up, and to also jumpstart an entrepreneurial culture when it came to the realm of content. So that's kind of the backdrop to the story. Mike?
Oh. No, I would just, to this thing about exclusive voice versus, did it have the annoying feature of dial-up here in the States that if you got a voice call while you were online, it would just dump your voice call, but not necessarily, or your modem call, but not necessarily ring the phone?
I don't know. Daniel,
Can you repeat that?
Well, I know from dial-up days in the US, if you were like on a modem call. Often, if someone tried to call you, even though your line was busy, they put that break tone in, which would kill your modem connection,
Exactly.
but not hang up your phone, so you still didn't get it to ring, the person still didn't get through.
Yeah, with Minitel, you had on some of them, you had on the first line, you had some notification that someone was calling you. So you could, at that point, you can just, close the session.
So once again, better than the US.
Can I ask a little bit more about the revenue share? So like when somebody's using Minitel, they're getting charged a franc a minute, or and then part of that is going to SM.
Yes. Yeah, about the same as Apple.
As Apple.
It's 2/3, 1/3.
About the same.
Did Minitel? Was there a sense that Minitel use retarded the adoption of the internet?
It's a controversial. A lot of people say that it did.
That attractive compared to like computation that was available in the late 90s. So
well, for one thing, the French PC penetration was much less in France than in the US, at least in the 80s. Some scholars say that it did slow down internet penetration. I've looked at ITU data, and there's no evidence of that, because the only two countries that were much faster than France in going on the internet were Denmark, but there was like a huge push by the government, and Germany, and I don't know why. But if you compare the countries like the UK, Spain, or Italy, France was actually, internet penetration was higher than these countries earlier. So
probably.
it probably is a non-event in that sense, yeah.
I think it was subtle. I mean, I was living in France at the time, but spending a lot of time in Switzerland and Italy, I didn't notice any notable difference.
And it did also create a generation of entrepreneurs who then went to Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
You work here.
Yeah. But the editors were just holding to these services because they were, it was a lot of money coming out. So they were just holding to it. Because the internet was not as profitable at that as these services at that time.
Another thing too is that those machines were very sturdy, and so people were using it until 2012, especially older people. When you have Windows crashing every 2 minutes, and you haven't grown up with computers, it's kind of tough, right? This doesn't crash very much. And it's also sturdy, so you can have it in your farm, in your shop. It boots instantly. And so up until 2012, the entire swine trade industry in France was organized over Minitel. This is where you sold your pigs, you check out the trading rates, or you bought grain or whatever. I mean, that was the thing. And so when France Telecom decided to shut down the system, all these farmers, I think there were 300,000 people still on Minitel actively, and all these farmers said, well, what are you doing? Where are we going to trade our pigs?
Was it 98 when you ditched one?
2012.
Oh, but you said the sort of...
The curve started going down.
So in the late 90s, if people are moving to PCs, and the chat function is a huge part of the popularity in the US-centered narrative, you would talk about Médium.
Right.
What was the French equivalent that people were moving to reproduce the sort of functionality of this, which is a functionality I think that was also particular to a particular historical moment?
A lot of services moved to PC. They use the emulators, to access the services.
Like they were still Minitel chat rooms, they were just...
That's about true PC.
Okay.
And we also have the US services, so like I remember doing AOL Messenger and from France, so yeah, the chat rooms. One more question, okay. I think you
Did the Minitel network create any use of access or special privileges to law enforcement or intelligence agencies? What kind of narrative was there around surveillance?
Yeah, that's a great question. The privacy thing was huge. So the state anonymized everything on both directions. So Daniel didn't see who was connected to his chat rooms. Most importantly, on your phone bill, at the end of the day, it didn't say you went on SM. It said you went on Minitel for X number of minutes. What happened was people at work started going into sex chat room during the day, because if their boss showed up, all they had to do is just click the thing, and you know, from behind, the boss doesn't see what you're doing, so they say, oh yeah, I was researching a competitor's, you know, whatever. So people were on sex chat room at work all the time, and it was a huge controversy. I don't know about law enforcement. The only kind of finicky thing is that a lot of prostitutes would go to a chat room to solicit customers, and a few chat rooms got shut down. And you monitored your chat room.
Yeah, we had moderators, so if anything happened, you know, people were disconnected. That's it.
Yeah.
And for these chat rooms, if they use this at work, we have a special command that will turn the screen black, so
Nice.
you don't see anything.
Yeah, and there's no cookies. At some point they introduced a cookie system because I think there are 8 octets left. But that was an outrage because you would turn your Minitel back on and you would be on the last page. So if your boss was behind you and you just turn it off and then be like, turn this back on, you were screwed. So there was an outrage and France Telecom recalled that cookie system very quickly. Even though they denied that anyone would go to sex chat room at work, but yeah.
I think that's it. Before anybody kicks off, first of all, let's give Julien a huge round.